beautifully. Stephen said that I need to go through it again. So, today's lesson we have to understand clearly that the knowledge of the real self will not stay if the mind remains impure and ignorant. If the mind is impure and ignorance, it is constantly projecting, then the knowledge of the real self does not stay. And that is the reason, you see, that is the reason we understand, we have already understood real self is all pervading, eternal, but it does not stay. It does not stay. Our past impression returns. Look at it, the beauty, the way this teacher, Sadhana Panchkam, written by Shankaracharya. Uh, so the first thing first, Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karva Vahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahe. Do you see that how you can connect the knowledge of the real self does not stay if the mind is impure, ignorant, and constantly projecting? So, if you look at all the five messages here, Om Sahana Bhavatu, may we both be protected from that impurity, protected from that overwhelming mind which constantly reflects and projects. See that, Sahana Bhunaktu. We both should enjoy together the journey of the Eastern wisdom. So you see, we both should enjoy. It means the knowledge as it is transmitted should be accepted by our intellect as it is. First, as it is, through the contemplation and reflection, it should stay there. We are talking of the topic real self. Knowledge of the real self will not stay forever if the mind is impure or it has a projection. The third line, Sahana Bhunaktu, third line is Sahaviryam Karva Vahe. Our intellect should perceive the thing as it is. No, that we are doing it. No, we are not doing it. I don't know the real self. Intellect says, yes, I don't know the real self. Then I look at you. So my intellect projects something else than the real self. Are you getting it? We are going little deeper, deeper every time. So that is why our intellect should be very alert and aware that it does not invite any projection, any impurity. Tejasvinavadhitamastu. May our study be enlightening. Study should not mix up with the past impressions. If it is mixed up with the past impressions, then we are gone. Ma vidvisha vahe. The fifth line is, we should not have any kind of envy, jealousy. It is the result of the impurity of the mind. That is what. Now the Guru and the knowledge help us understand. Pay attention. We have to contemplate and reflect on this throughout the day, from today, every day. And once we reach to that state, then you need not to do it. What is that? I'm making a statement. So, what is that statement? Guru and the knowledge help us understand what is opposite of my experiences. Now you get the answer. why the knowledge of the real self does not stay. That is why we need to continue the study. Are you getting it? What we experience every day, that is, we are not. Do you see that? You'll have a. Now you already understood. I wake up in the morning. Oh, I'm a waker now. I'm not the waker. Oh, I was sleeping. No, I'm not the sleeper. So this intellect and the mind, because it has experience since birth and it received the impressions from the world outside. So what the Guru and the knowledge of the Eastern wisdom says, it helps us to understand what is opposite of my experiences, daily experiences. I'm into anxiety. Anxiety, no, I'm not worthy of suffering. Opposite experiences. So those who are, those who are, who are, I won't use the word impressed, those who are constantly into anxiety, reaction, and duality, Christina will tell you, she is a psychotherapist, they will not accept that this anxiety is unfounded worry. No, this is real. This is real. And what the Eastern wisdom is teaching you, opposite of your experiences. And that is why we need to understand step by step. The guy does not like me, so what happens? Then I hate him. But this is my experience. But Eastern wisdom is teaching you opposite of your experiences. No, I hate this guy. Don't talk about that guy. Do you see that? And that we do every day. Every day. Every day. Not only to the strangers, to our own relations. I don't like this. Yes, I dated for 10 years, then we got married, and now I realize that there is something crazy about him or her. No, it is crazy about you. It is your experience. Do you see that? Look at the way the master teaches us. Look at. Look at the beauty. Why I didn't leave this Eastern wisdom, why I left the counseling. Look at this. So I just rephrased it in a way so that your mind, your intellect can remember this. What Eastern wisdom is teaching us, opposite of my daily experiences of waking, sleep, dream, anxiety, hatred, I'm none of them. Why? That is why, because these principles are written in a very small phrases in the word. It demands a detailed explanation, and the tradition helps us to understand. Let us take few examples on this topic. What is the purpose of the body? To experience the world through five sense organs. When we talk of the body, we talk of the three bodies: physical, subtle, and the causal body. Think in that way. Not think in a modern scientific, well, okay, yes, anatomy and physiology. No, that is not going to help us. That is not going to help us. Go to the doctor taking our 90 or 95-year-old relation. Doctor says, I am sorry. What we say, we are not the body. We don't remember this. We are not the body. Are you looking at? So when I'm not the body, now detailed explanation is there. Whatever takes birth has to die. And that we can witness in anything that is created has to leave. Means name and the form dissolves. And that proves that I am not the body. Body is constantly changing. So now another point that is very important to understand, people, that our intellect has an opposite experience. Oh, okay, you say that I'm not the body, so let me leave it. No. Through the body, through the sense organ, I am not the car, it is my car. That level of understanding should be developed with reference to the physical body, subtle body, and the causal body. So it means what? Physical body requires maintenance, protection, nourishment. We should give it. So if there is a right and the right nourishment is a proper nourishment, we are doing good. But still, intellect should recognize that I am not the body. Now look at the Bill Gates and me and you all. We all have to use the body for the same thing. That needs to be understood to get rid of the hatred and anxiety. Do you see that? Don't they go to the restroom because they are very rich? Don't they eat through the mouth? We also eat through the mouth. So we have to get rid of this opposite experiences. Why we have an opposite experience is because I don't realize the real self. So now see the intellect projects. Oh, he is very rich. I am not like that. And from there, the impurity starts coming into the mind. Lot of comparison. Then we have hatred, anxiety, and jealousy. That is the beauty. It is simply not saying, in yoga studio, we'll talk, we are three bodies. No, we have to go deeper. So this physical body with the five sense organs and the five motor organs, it helps me for perception and action. And in that perception and action, I have to see, do I have an opposite experience? I have to drop. Where is opposite of experience? This is for perception. Look at clearly. I look at the wall and the monitor and you all, but my eyes are not attached to any object. So the subtle body is attached to the object. Subtle body means mind, intellect, memory, or whatever ego you say. So it means Master says I'm not the body because I have to drop this attachment. I have to go opposite of these experiences of attachment and detachment. Why? To purify the mind. But why? Because to realize the real self. And we get attached to the body. Now see, another master gives a beautiful reflection on it. Master says, beautiful, I am a waker. Waker means mind, intellect, ego, and the memory are fully functional. In sleep state, all the four are not functional. And then I have a deep relaxation and calmness. So almost in a deep sleep state, I'm dead to the body and the mind. So, can I learn from these three states of waking, dream, and the sleep? That consciously, if I die of the body and the mind, that is the meaning that I'm not the body and the mind. And if that happens, mind is definitely pure. Now the intellect will not gather opposite of the experiences. You should not come to me. There is some fly. So states of the consciousness. Sleeping, waking, and dreaming states are given by the nature. We cannot change it. To understand attachment means has no value in sleep, momentary value in dream, and constant attachment and detachment and anxiety and jealousy in the waking state. I'm none of them. But our intellect gathers the opposite experiences and that causes the delusion. I'm specifically using the intellect so that you should contemplate. That is the understanding of this master. I'm still laying a foundation for the 40 steps. So once we have a very strong foundation, then we understand what needs to be done daily, what needs to be done regularly, the moment we wake up until we retire to the bed in order to reach to that highest state of the consciousness. Now look at the role of the subtle body. For just for 1 minute, you say subtle body does not exist. I cannot experience the body, physical body. Subtle body means the mind, memory, intellect, and do you see that? So how my mind and intellect perceives and projects on this physical body is my experience needs to be reflected on so that I can remove the impurity of the mind so that the knowledge of the real self continues to stay. Look at, be very clear. We are not saying that I'm not giving you a imagination of the real self. I'm saying to remove what is not you. Look at it. We are trying to understand all those experiences which opposes the real self, if I used to say. So let me remove these oppositions. So what happens? Anxiety reaction, all those goes away. And then what is left? What is left is the real self. So our master in Krishna says that this mind has a particular specific way. The moment it perceives the world of objects, people, relationship, it has three sets of experiences: pain, pleasure, profit, loss, victory, defeat. So when my mind moves around these three sets of experiences, it causes attachment, detachment, anxiety, duality, and then whole range of experiences are accumulated in the mind, in the memory. Intellect takes it from there, and that is how we live. So we are constantly living in ignorance. That is the meaning. We have to get rid of this ignorance. There is another way to understand it. So, okay, whatever mind, intellect, experiences I have, let me take my attention away from it. It's not easy. It's not easy. And there the journey of the meditation comes. You take your attention away as much as you try, and the next moment the mind returns its attention on the external identifiers, name and the form, gender and the profession, physical state. It brings it again and again. So that is why the knowledge of the real self does not stay forever. So some people from here, they take a diversion, or they say it is a mysticism. Spirituality is a mysticism. No, it has nothing to do with mysticism. It's a very open, clear. Why I have been saying this, and I'm summarizing now. Whatever I have explained until now, until this moment, we experience the bondage. So that is an opposite experience of freedom and awakening. So the master says, when you go into the meditation, you awaken to your real self. Whatever I have explained until now, it is just one liner. We seek freedom because we experience bondage. Bondage in anxiety, bondage in hatred, bondage in the name and the form, bondage in waking, sleep in the. You see how those principles were discovered. We all are higher seekers, so we have to understand that how come the masters have created these principles. So from where the bondage comes? Bondage comes from ignorance. What is that ignorance? I'm seeking pleasure in the external world, but the pleasure is not there, so I get the pain. See the how logical it is, how clear it is. Only the higher seeker can really understand and appreciate this. Freedom is the aspiration to overcome this bondage. So our focus should continue to be as a seeker to remove all kinds of bondages, opposite experiences. And once we get rid of these opposite experiences, what is left? What is left is nothing but the real self, our true nature left. Serious in a sense that we need to contemplate and reflect the way I have reflected before you, or the more you reflect this, you'll find other ways. Oh, this is another way to put the things in order. So, how it has to be done, I have been repeating it. Mangala Charan, 4 groups. Do you remember 4 groups? World is suffering. I should recognize, even if I am getting a pleasure by eating the pasta, I should recognize that pleasure, there is a suffering hides behind that pleasure. I have to recognize. So, should I stop eating? No. Don't overstretch. It doesn't mean that, I'm suffering from diabetes and so I should not. So keep eating sugar and then live in that awareness. That is another impurity of the mind. So 4 groups. First group, what is suffering? Satsang, I have already explained. And then we constantly oppose the experience. That is why I said the third group is the experiences I gain by learning and practice. And then I remember this. I should have a very sharp memory to remember. Oh, in this event, I experienced some discomfort inside, and I remove that discomfort. I have a good experience, so I remember that. And then in that remembrance, intellect says, now you are right, I am not the body, I am not the mind. Simply by living intellectually saying choiceless awareness, it will not work. So it will work only when we say that what four types of intellect should continue to, we should live with the four types of intellect so that we can gain the four powers of intellect, so that we can understand the five changes in the intellect. And that demands daily practice, daily listening and learning, contemplation and reflection. And now the time has come. You go and talk. Don't talk yourself as a teacher, as an expert, but just communicate with the people in your relations. Don't continue to talk in those opposing experiences of the real self. Hold on. You will see the change in your behavior and attitude. You have been learning, say, for example, other members of the family are not learning, have not done this journey, and now they reflect, they speak from the intellect, which is opposing the experiences of the real self. So, there you have a right. You just express yourself. Don't express yourself as a teacher or a mentor or a coach. Just express yourself. This is what I feel and this is what I believe. Why? That is also a practice too. Master demands that we should continue to do. Why? Because because they have seen us, our action with attachment, with the duality, with the conflict, with the hatred and the jealousy. So the other person feels that you are the same person. So I have to express it. I have to express it repeatedly. So when you express it repeatedly, you are making your intellect aware and pure. It is required now. We have to enter into the action part. So you are already connected to the continuous journey, and now you are expressing, not as a teacher, but just as an individual. Oh, this is what I have felt. I have experienced a lot of this, but now I see that there is no need to have an anxiety. Let us understand what happened to the body. And after all, I use the possessive case with the body. You just throw this idea casually with awareness inside. You will recognize, oh, I'm not the body. I have recognized in this situation. And then it will go further. Don't hold back. It is required. And that is the point of empowerment. You are empowering the mind. I gave you the 5E. And traditionally, I explained with the 5S. I explained you with the 5S. So this is another preparatory phase to become a higher seeker. And that is in that context I explained you the work model, the visual aid, the visual opportunities I get. Visual opportunities I get in the world, audio I have to speak or I have to listen, read and write. So I make a main points every day, either in my mind or I just write it somewhere. Oh, so I can formulate this is the journey I have taken. And kinesthetics work means the physical. I always do the practice every day. That is going to help us a great deal. Until the practice becomes less and the knowledge takes over the intellect, then you need not to do the practice. You live into that choiceless awareness. You live into that state. It is possible. But how it is possible, the second step comes, it is possible only when my intellect knows the goal clearly. So I define the goal in my intellect again and again. I am the real self. I am the real self. And unless the ignorance, impurity, and projection is removed, I cannot reach to that state. So, what should I do? I should remind myself whenever I have a problem, anxiety, duality, challenges in my life, the real self is beyond all these challenges. I should remind myself, I should reflect on this. So, when you start reflecting, you will remember all what I have discussed now. Why? It is opposite of experiences. I simply gave you a simple phrase. It is opposite of experiences. Why anxiety? Why reaction? It pertains to the in relationship to the world outside. What is that relationship? I am the body, so I am the husband, I am the wife, son, and daughter. I pass through the sleeping, waking, and the dream state. I don't like this guy, and I like this guy. You don't remain indifferent. You are full of joy inside because you recognize that recognition is there. That is how you implement and how you act upon these principles in your daily life. And once you connect all the dots. There is another way to understand. You are connecting the dots. That's why you are contemplating and reflecting. What is you connecting? What is opposite of experiences? My intellect says you are crazy. Let me go deep inside and see from where this idea of a craziness comes. You continue to reflect on it until the expectation and the attachment pertaining to that person dissolves. Why it dissolves? Because the intellect is presenting the opposite of my experiences of the real self, and that I don't want. It is not the question of the other person. Are you getting it? So once we have that foundation, I may take one or two sessions and then we will start with the step 1 to step 40. So with that foundation, this master gives you the teaching in an instructional style. First, these 40 steps is a complete message, and all the 40 steps can be written in A4 size paper. But that contains the message. That is why I have taken almost 12, 13 sessions to explain you. Message is very clear to only for the higher seeker. And they are very simple instructions. Sometimes the what is simple instructions we overlook. It has the unique feature I told you. It is purely instruction, direct teaching. Another next point is that it covers the teaching or instruction for people of all ages. You can understand. You have to understand that how I can bring these 40 steps to a kid of 5 years old or 80 years old or a person lying on the bed or a person who is a seeker. It is such a beautiful way to put it. Whether you are doing a business or you are an executive or you are employee, it is for them. Whether you have challenges in your relationship, it is for them also. But if this foundation is not clear, you will overlook and ignore these instructions. Oh, it's so simple. And that is why I told you that it includes the part what is essential of karma yoga, what is essential of bhakti yoga, to move from the emotional dependence to the emotional freedom, path of the knowledge. It also includes some part of the kundalini. Every aspect has what is essential. Why? Because we are a higher seeker. We are a higher seeker. So that we should not fall back again. So that is all. Remember, knowledge of the real self will not stay in the intellect, or you can say in the mind, as long as opposite experiences are already there, and they run in trillions since our birth until today. I have to say, I didn't sleep good tonight, but at the same time, internally, I should be aware I'm not a sleeping, waking, and the real state. Close your eyes. Eyes are closed. Find out place, position, posture. It is the intellect who is guiding us. When I say, and your intellect is guiding your body and following the instructions, you see that? So we are going opposite of experiences, place all around, the space all around. So I have a guy from New Jersey who says there is a fire station just nearby. But now my intellect should become aware of the space all around the body. And in that space, no entry from the word, including the sound. Problem is solved. It has to be solved at the level of the intellect and awareness. But it will take long time for him. So the place, position, and the posture, being comfortable and carefree, you already know it. I'm giving you some time. You see, I'm just, you are aware that with the same steps I discussed, I give you the practice explaining what we discussed, what we discussed in a talk. So being comfortable and carefree. Am I opposing my old experiences? Answer is yes. Do you see that? That is the beauty of the Eastern wisdom. You can take any principle and you can give the right interpretation with reference to the real self. And then, Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. May there be happiness for all. Can you reflect on what we discussed today and give the right interpretation that may there be happiness for all? I want to be happy making you unhappy. Is that interpretation fits here? Or you made me unhappy. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. May there be peace for all. Can you reflect on it? Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. May there be completeness in all, wholeness in all. Not only this is our problem, but problem of all our relations and people outside, events, conditions, everything in the world. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. May there be auspiciousness for all. So when we reflected on this mantra, then it should take us almost to a state of choiceless awareness by horizontal movement. The previous step should take us to, or you can say, the choiceless awareness, or you can say living in a moment. How? Just no worries. First neighbor. You live the opposing experience. Outermost first neighbor is the world outside. The world will remain as it is. My perception through the intellect and the impressions creates another world. Intellect don't count. Simple understanding. The outermost layer is the world, is the first neighbor. Is neighbor you? No. Our neighbor can come to our house, they can stay until the midnight gossiping and drinking, but at last the neighbor says, now I'm going. It has been late. Second neighbor is the physical body. That's another way to move horizontally. Oh, physical body. Look at the physical body, five senses, five motor organs. Oh, it's a neighbor. So I'm not the doer and the enjoyer? Yes, it's a body. Really? Third neighbor, breath, energy, life, sensation. Fourth neighbor is the mind, with all its impression, thought, mind. Yes. Fifth neighbor is the intellect, and I-ness or ego. Sixth neighbor is the ignorance of the causal body. Why causal body? But I don't experience. I don't experience the causal body. Do you know your real self? No. That is causal body. Do you recognize you hate someone? That is causal body. Do you know you reacted to someone? That is causal body. Ignorance word. And beyond that, we have it. So when you do it during the day also, it will take you very deeper. So we have done the passive step. I told you passivity stage one. And the stage two, because we are living a worldly life. So it's important to continue with some of the well organized structure practice which engages your mind into action. So, looking inside the forehead in the space, there you drop Om Shanti. This is a semi active step. That is also an action. Maintaining the stillness in the body, and then you start breathing into the belly only. And you should regulate, organize that action. Every time you inhale, the belly goes out. Every time you exhale, the belly goes in. Why? To engage the mind, to absorb the mind into that action. Om Shanti continues, stillness continues, the belly breathing continues. I'll be changing that step, but this step seems to be benefiting you all. And because you already know, if there is a resistance, the intellect changes it to endurance. Resistance by the mind, endurance by the intellect. So it drops the tamoguna, you move to the endurance means rajoguna. And the time comes, there is a joy of doing. So you are doing a practice, and it is action is being done in a satoguna. So in the state of the satoguna, you normally get detached from the body. Resistance comes because I am the body. That needs to be clearly understood before the awakening should take place. Continue breathing constantly, checking your mind, taking you to opposite experiences. What is opposite experiences? Resistance. Your mind stops doing the practice. It says it is enough. Now I have other experiences, that is why I don't want to do. For that, we need a focus in the intellect to move to the endurance. I believe you all are getting it. So now you can easily understand what kind of a focus we need. We don't need a focus of modern psychology, excluding others and struggling with lot of other thoughts and fixing on one thought. No, that is not what we want. We want the mind should move and accept the sato guna. Continue inhaling and exhaling through your belly, through the nostrils into the belly. Maintain your awareness that when you inhale, the belly should expand, and when you exhale, the belly should contract. Om Shanti continues. Stillness in the body continues. Now stop it. Allow the breath to return to its normal state. Pay attention to the flow of the breath, and you can spend a lot of time on your own Anytime you just remain aware of the flow of the breath, even for 5 to 10 minutes every day, couple of times, including the mantra, both are okay. You will recognize gradually that when the flow of the breath is equal, your mind or the intellect will experience some sensation in the spine naturally, as if the breath is moving into the spine and returning from the spine. A perfect state of pratyahara, the withdrawal of the senses. In that moment, you can check that you're looking at the things you are attached to, but in that state, it is complete state of dispassion is there. As I told you, different parts of specialized practices of different schools of yoga are integrated. So, Laya Yoga. Nyasa is also another form of Laya Yoga. Laya Yoga means absorption. So, you start breathing little deep, silent, and slow. Find out that you are comfortable and natural. So, what is that deep, silent, slow breathing? You inhale first into the belly, gently continue into the rib cage, and you exhale from the belly, from the rib cage. Pay attention to the flow of the breath. It is deep, silent, and slow. Then we link it with the mind as you inhale, moving the mind from the top center of the head into the spine, reaching to the tailbone, and exhalation opposite from the tailbone to the top of the head. We add one more thing as you inhale. Your mind sings mentally Om Shanti. When you are saying Shanti mentally, it reaches to the tailbone. During exhalation, the mind rises. Om Shanti reaches to the top center of the head. Look at this. Body is in the state of stillness. You are opposing the experiences. Again, understand that clearly. Then the deep, silent, and slow breathing. Second point of awareness. Mind moves with it. Third point of awareness. You are chanting the mantra Om Shanti. Ends at the tailbone during inhalation. Shanti ends at the top center of the head. And then you are also checking that all these pointed awareness are merging together. Laya. Laya means absorption, dissolving, melting. Now leave this, move the mind inside the cave of your heart, visualize the triangle, hand dropping Om Shanti on each side of the triangle, clockwise, anti-clockwise. When you find it is sinking easily, why it is sinking? The mind is deep within, horizontally. It is fully aware. It can regulate that movement. And in that state, Om, pushing the mind with the Om mentally deep inside the cave of your heart. Mind seemingly stops, you drop Shanti, absorption. Mind seems to be absorbed into that space or blankness or darkness, whatever it is. It is okay, provided it is not going with the thought, feeling, and emotions. Even if they are there, they are too far. You find a kind of absorption. You are able to discern the two. And no worries if your mind returns outside because of certain thought, feeling, emotions, memory. You see, opposite experiences. We are dropping them by understanding. So we return again to the triangle, we find the sink, and then we move it further. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your awareness on the right hand, your awareness on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences. Bring the hands down. How are you, Christina?
Thank you. I really liked the opposite experiences, and it helped me to consider the possibility, instead of the goal being to get rid of the opposite experiences, it's just to utilize that to come back again and again to the real self, ultimately, I think, right?
Yes, you are 100% right. That is what is the goal. I recognize the opposite experiences. You live with it. I'm not supporting you. Who supports? Intellect and I-ness. Only I say I have a stress. So intellect is supporting. I'm into anxiety. Intellect, I-ness is supporting. You're right, perfectly right. Yeah, it's a good reflection. How are you, Stephen?
I'm good, sir. Thank you very much. I agree with Christina. It was so simple.
So simple.
The understanding of that we're not our experiences, we're just the opposite of it. And what came to my mind was our past conversations that we've had about perception and reality. And it just became very clear that perception, whether it's right or wrong, actually doesn't matter, because the only reality is the real self. And just now being able to just look at everything that goes on outside, and that whatever I perceive it, to just negate it. And fact is, that's not me. And then that led to a very deep meditation that it just kept getting deeper and deeper, that each transition that we went through, when we made the transition, I became aware of where we were at, just to check what was going on, and then just went deeper. But I did have one struggle when we got to the triangle, because I typically see the triangle point up, and for whatever reason, the triangle was turned downward, and it distracted me from going to that deepest. And I go, okay, this is my test of my perception and my experience.
Yes.
I'm not that. And I go, so me to alter it, I actually changed the direction I was going around the triangle, and then the triangle stood up. But then by the time I figured that out, we were coming out of meditation. So that was my experience. So thank you.
Beautiful. You know, the triangle, the shape of the triangle is distorted. It is because of the past experiences. It is nothing but the opposing the experience. Triangle is triangle. Equilateral triangle is triangle. But still the mind imposes. So it is because of the past impression. And one main statement you made it, that's very important, so that we all should know. The object of meditation is to negate these opposing experiences. So when you negate all these experiences, what is left is the meditative state. Yes, we are understanding. How are you, David and Jerry?
Very good, thank you. I love the lesson today. It was I feel like we're into sort of a newer layer, a newer chapter.
Yeah.
And so I focused a lot on the relationship between the body and the consciousness. And am I right in saying that the body is simply a vessel for the consciousness to survive, or it's like a car for us to drive? And is that, yeah. So I felt this interesting relationship I need to have with my body to support the consciousness. And I need to take care of the body. I need to, nourish it. I need to exercise it. I need to do that in order to really focus on my consciousness. And then, so I started focusing, what else can I do to really embrace and support my consciousness? That was what my takeaway. I had a very, very deep meditation. Thank you.
Beautiful. Yeah. That's another good reflection. You see that the body, when I say I'm not the body, it means I'm not rejecting it, but I'm rejecting the attachment to it, the clinging to it. Why? Because when I reject the clinging and attachment to it, my perception changes. No, you are my son, why you did this? Now you see that relationship you drop for a while and then see the perception. Christina, then you see the perception and everything changes. Everything changes. So, rightly, yes. Very good. So, how are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I like too that everything that's changing, everything that's opposite is not us.
Yeah.
And I also like where you mentioned not being passive and indifferent to the way that we respond to everything that's changing.
Yeah.
So that's where we can practice every single day, all day long, is how do we respond to the things the attitudes that may not be gracious, or that's okay, but what is our attitude about it, and how do we say, oh, well, that wasn't so kind,
Yeah.
Or somebody's trying to take something that's yours, that you try not to have that happen, but if it does, it's okay.
Yeah. You beautifully said that. I did not express that. Whatever is changing, so when I experience anything that is changing and I relate to it, that is what the opposing experiences is. Today I am friend to you and tomorrow I am enemy. It is changing. Both are opposing experiences. There is an element of attachment. There is an element of clinging. Now do you see that why we talk of detachment and you are attached, you have an expectation? Look at it. From that perspective, when you look at it, you have a smile on the face. I think somebody talks about dispassion means that totally indifferent. No. And that is what you part. No, we need not to be passive. That state of passivity is the tamoguna. Yes, beautiful. How are you, Dennis?
Thank you for the session. Similarly to Christina and Stephen, my contemplation was today around the phrase Guru and the knowledge help us to understand what is opposite of my experience. And here the aspect of negation comes, negating our experience brings us to better understanding of what the real self is, and the aspect of remembering. Yeah. Because we always need to remind ourselves that experience is not me, and what I'm seeking is opposite of that, of what I experience at this moment, every moment.
Beautiful.
And my meditation was seamless and comfortable, and at the end the mind was resting in the dark space.
Beautiful. Beautiful. It's kind of a self-absorption. You rightly said. You see that any experiences from the moment we wake up, 24 hours, we have an experience of sleep, waking state, dream state, anxiety, duality, conflict, pleasure. From where these experiences comes, from the mind or the intellect, you see. And based on the perception, we start thinking and acting. But now we live with that awareness is these are opposing experiences of the real self. So then a sense of detachment comes. And at that very moment, you live into that choiceless awareness. You need not to practice it. No, it doesn't mean that you should not. How are you, Vaibhav?
Thank you, sir. So mine was calm. The understanding is like that. It's a continuous reminding to myself that I am not the experiences. So now I am like usually we spend our energy in proving our experiences, opposite experiences, and now it's an understanding that proving them will not solve those experiences. So it's a reminder
Reminder.
that there's another way where we can live like that, that those experiences do not matter if it is coming or going. And we have a peaceful state, like even if those experiences are there.
Yes, you rightly said. Oh, you made me crazy. Now analyze this statement from the intellect. How you can make me crazy? No one can make me crazy. It is my perception. I colored it. I'm attached to it. I liked it. You look at it. So I have to oppose this experience. In order to oppose that experience, I have to be aware of it. Aware plus the recognition is required. And when we have that recognition, we can definitely move into a deeper state of meditation. Beautiful. Thank you all. We all are evolving together. Thank you. We'll meet again.